To solve this inequality, we want to get the x by itself. So if we look to see what's on the same side of the inequality as the x, notice I have a negative 19 on the left-hand side, and I also have a negative 1/6. The negative 1/6 is right next to the x, so that's multiplication. And then we have minus 19. We want to undo PEMDAS, so we'd like to get rid of the addition and subtraction first, and then get rid of the multiplication or division. So in other words, I want to get rid of the subtract 19 before I get rid of the multiply by negative 1/6. What gets rid of subtract 19 is add 19. What I do to the left side, I'm going to do to the right side. So now that I've added 19, I can take this negative 1/6 x, that's still here, so I'm going to bring that down. I just wanted to highlight the negative 1/6 that's still left over. And then I'm going to bring down the inequality symbol, and negative 17 plus 19 is 2. We have multiply by a fraction, and so if you can remember that multiplying by a fraction, to get rid of it, you multiply by the reciprocal. The reciprocal of negative 1/6 is negative 6/1. Just flipping that over. Negative, it's still negative. What I do to one side, I do to the other. So I'm going to also be multiplying the right side by negative 1/6. Let's go ahead and bring down this part right here. Okay, so I'm multiplying the left and the right side by the reciprocal of the fraction. When I'm multiplying both sides by a negative, I need to remember that this symbol's got to flip over. So instead of having a less than or equal to, I now have a greater than or equal to. This negative 6/1 is getting rid of the negative 1/6. So the only thing still over here on the left-hand side is x. Negative times negative is positive, and those 6's cancel. Now on the right-hand side, when you multiply, we have a positive times a negative. So I know my answer is negative. And when you multiply by a fraction, you're really dividing by the number in the bottom and multiplying by the number in the top. So 2 divided by 1 is 2, and 2 times 6 is 12. Positive number times a negative number is a negative 12. Now, the denominator here on this one was just 1, so I could have just thought of this as 2 multiplied by 6. But if the reciprocal of this fraction is something else, just remember that multiplying by a fraction is dividing by the bottom and multiplying by the top to get that answer. Okay, so quick summary one more time is there was a fraction next to the variable. That was multiplication, and there was this number over here. So I needed to get rid of the subtraction by adding, and then I still had a fraction next to the variable. To get rid of that, I had to multiply by this one flipped over. What I do to one side, I do to the other. When I multiplied by a negative, this flipped over. The x is now by itself, and 2 multiplied by negative 6/1 is negative 12.